Hi, I'm Mike Caparizzo. My students call me Caps. I'm here at the Borg studio at Ithaca College. We're going to go through some everyday uses and common pitfalls on the SSL Duality. Okay, pitfall number one, I can't hear sound out of the speakers. I've got my Pro Tools session up here. Let's check our I/O and make sure we're getting signal to the console. Our I/O system here is a 64 in and out I/O in Borg, and that can be loaded in by the Borg HD 64x64 I/O preset. I loaded that into the output tab, and I should load it into the bus tab as well, but I see I've already got it in here, and every output is mapped to its correct analog output, so it should be in good shape. Playing my session, I can see meters coming up on the channels, so I know I'm getting signal to the console. It's just a matter of monitoring in the center section. So let's see what's going on here. We've got two mutes here for left-right, and we've got a dim and a cut for the main monitor level. Now this main monitor level pot is not set to main speaker level. It's set to the dim level right now, so we want to make sure this is actually on main speaker level. And we're going to set this to a very conservative setting, just to make sure when we do get signal, it's not too loud. Okay, so our mutes are turned off, and our monitor level is up a little bit, but we're still not hearing anything. Well, our monitor source needs to be set to the proper source for what we want to hear, which in this case would be mix bus A. Still not hearing anything, but I also see that solo clear light is lit up, which implies that something is soloed somewhere on the console. I don't have to go find it, I can just turn off solo clear, and now there's no more solo anymore. Still not hearing anything. I wonder if the master fader has anything to do with that. Our fader's down, but it'll stay down unless it's assigned to a mix bus. And it remembers its last setting if it is turned off of a mix bus, so let's find out what's going on here. Let's assign the master fader to mix A by holding the mix A column on the matrix and touching the fader row. And we see our fader has remained at -infinity, so it's turned off. Let's pull this up. And now we have signal. Okay, time to record signal into Pro Tools. We're going to do a guitar overdub. I've got my guitar overdub track. It's record enabled and input monitored, so we'll hear signal as soon as we have it. Input is assigned to input 25, output is assigned to output 24. So we're using the console in a split configuration where our record path is going to be on the right-hand side and our monitor path is going to be on the left-hand side. Starting with the left-hand side of the console, all of our channels are in monitor return mode, meaning that the line input is selected as the input. We can turn our fader up, so that will send signal whenever we get it to the mix bus so we can monitor it properly. On the record path side, we'll select channel 25 by hitting plus and minus together on the channel select section and push the select button on 25. We're going to change this from line input to mic input. We're going to choose our meter source, which I'm going to set to input so we can see meters as they are coming in. And then if our musician starts playing, we see some signal on the console. So let's pull up the gain to a moderate position, just to get an idea that we have good signal coming into the desk. And then we need to assign our channel output to an appropriate source to get it into Pro Tools, because the channel output is what is going to feed the DAW input in the studio. For now, I'm going to choose post fader. Channel output goes to post fader. And let's bring up the fader. Okay, I hear the guitar, but something doesn't sound right. Notice if I pull down the fader on 24, we've got a comb filter. Reason is channel 25 is assigned to mix A along with 24, so we have to take 25 out of our mix A assignment. And if we want, we can change our source for channel output to pre-fader, so the fader's not in the picture at all. We can still affect the signal on the way in. With EQ or compression, or we can take EQ and compression out of the chain altogether by sourcing the channel output from input. And now we're ready to go. Okay, we've set up a recording with a split configuration. Now we're going to do an inline configuration. So starting in Pro Tools, rather than having separate input and output numbers, I'm going to assign both the input and the output to 25. Input's all set. Output is going to go to 25. Notice we are not monitoring through record enable or input monitoring right now. We want to do all of our changes without having signal passing through this channel, since these numbers match and we have the possibility for a feedback loop. So looking at the console now, we're going to select our channel again, clear out the selection, hit plus and minus again. 25 came right up, but we can select whatever channel we need. There's an order to be observed here. Assign channel output first. In this case, we're going to go with input because I want to use the channel strip for the monitor return path. Input, assign your channel input source. This is going to go to mic now. And then we put this in an inline configuration by hitting the split switch, meaning it splits the channel into two paths. And we know we did it properly because channel 25 display shows a channel input and a monitor input. Channel input is feeding directly to the channel output. Monitor input is feeding through the channel strip. If we did want to reverse that, we could put the channel output as pre-fader, and the channel strip moves over to the record path side, and the monitor return feeds the fader directly. But it's important to know that the fader has to be on the monitor return side. If I tell the console to take its channel output from post fader, it exits the mode entirely, and I've got to do that process over again. Okay, so that should be ready to go. Guitarist is playing. I'll set my gain again. Approximately, just seeing that we have signal. So now in Pro Tools we can input monitor our guitar track, and we see that we have signal. Pull up the fader on the console. And remember, this is our monitor return path, so we are listening at the end of the chain right here. Any EQ adjustment is in the monitor path right now. Unless we put the channel strip into the channel path by changing from input to pre-fader. And that's inline recording. Time to save our mix so we can recall it at another time. From the Duality computer, we are going to exit the Duality recall project by going back to project, back. Now we see our whole list of saved projects here, and let's create a new one for the day. New project, and it shows up project 30 as its default title. Then we'll go over to the computer and pull up the Duality Delta Control app, find project 30, rename it with a project and a title, and hit save. Back on the Duality computer, our names match. To save our settings across the console, we'll go to TR for total recall and hit store. And we see a new total recall is stored. In the Duality Control app, go over to total recall, select our recall, and rename it. And now all of our parameters across the console are set. To go back to the default settings on the console, we'll go back to Project, back out of the project we just saved, use the first dpot to scroll all the way up to Duality Recalls, select, and select again. We've opened the project, now we need to open the total recall. We see that the title has changed up at the top of the screen, telling us we are in the title we want to be. Go to Total Recall. Select the desired recall. In this case, it's going to be normal, so that the whole console is reset to its normal position. And we are going to hit Select and Set All twice. And all of our faders will return to their original positions. Should a new recall be made in this title, that's okay. It can be deleted by highlighting over a total recall that we don't want to keep, hold Delete, and hit Confirm. Let's go back to the recall we just made to ensure that everything is where we want it. Select, select again. We're in our correct title, total recall, select, double-click, set all, and now we're back. As the name implies, the Duality has two modes, a DAW control and an analog control. Right now, we are looking at the DAW control mode, and you can recognize that because this up and down arrow button is not lit up. We hit that and it changes to a turquoise color when we are in analog focus, meaning the faders are now the analog VCAs. And in this mode, the D-pots are the fader control in Pro Tools. If I adjust my D-pots, we see our faders in Pro Tools adjust accordingly. That is because the D-pot is set to channel control. If we turn off channel control, now the D-pot is assigned to the pan control for Pro Tools. So we can see on my reverb channel, we're adjusting panning of the left side, and if we hit the pan control again, we'll adjust the pan of the right side. This can be changed to control the sends on the channel by hitting send. Right now, send A is active, so our D-pots are now controlling send A level across each channel. To choose the next send, we can scroll with the D-pot in the center section to control send B. And remember, send or pan control will be overwritten if we select channel. Let's go to DAW focus and look at some other features that we can take advantage of. In DAW focus, as we've confirmed, the faders control our DAW faders. But if we push the center section D-pot, it will flip that role so that now we can control the sends from the primary faders. If I go back to send A, now my Pro Tools faders can control the send, and the D-pot can control the pan on these sends. So now we have a full mixer control on each individual send from the DAW control feature of the console. Once again, channel will override this, provided that we are not flipped to viewing the sends on faders. In channel mode, when we are in DAW focus, the D-pot becomes the VCA of the console. And we can see those moves that I just made are reflected on the faders. The console offers a few more DAW control features, but these are the primary fader and channel based features that are most likely to be used on your session.